It was the third of several rallies aimed at drawing further attention to the missing Nigerian students. Unlike previous gatherings, this time the rally was held in front of the Nigerian Consulate offices in Midtown New York. The small crowd of about 40 carried signs that read, "Step up or step down," aimed at Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, who many here believe has been ineffective in freeing the kidnapped students. The actual number of mostly young female students varies, but it is believed that upwards of 270 may well be in the hands of the Boko Haram. That group is composed of Islamic extremists who call for Sharia law and who believe the classroom is not the place for young female students. Yet the prevailing mood of this group of protesters is simply that the office of the Nigerian president is not doing enough to free his own citizens, held against their will, and whose whereabouts at this hour is unknown. We spoke with several who took part in this gathering, and the message was emotional.
This is a huge injustice being done. And these girls that were abducted 3 weeks ago were doing the right thing. They were going to school. They were being in school, and they were taken from their school by terrorist group into the forest to be married off, to be mutilated, to be raped, and nobody seems to be doing enough about this in Nigeria to recover them. And it's an outrage. And part of the reason is because these girls belong to the rural, poor parts of the country, and so they are the lowest on the totem pole, and that is not acceptable, because it's one thing to be out here and to be living happily and freely, or even to be living happily and freely anywhere else, and then these girls are stuck in the forest, held by terrorists, being raped, being mutilated, and being subjected to horrible conditions.
This people have been missing for 22 days. The first time I heard about it on CNN was last week. And so to us, we think that if we must have a premium on lives everywhere. African life is not less important than any other life. But going back to the issue that you mentioned, they've been killing pastors, they've been bombing churches, they've been killing men. However, there's something about the human nature that the most vulnerable amongst us, women and children, even mad men, know that you should leave women and children out of it, because most of them can't defend themselves. I'm not saying or justifying killing adults. However, children in their school, these children were not running on the streets. These children were in school. My understanding is that they had exams the next day.
22 days is enough for the federal government of Nigeria to do something to make sure that these children are back. Yes. The more these children are in the forest, the more they're being raped, the more they're being abused. You know, it's a time that these children are brought back to their parents, are brought back to their families. So if you look at the news, their families, they're crying while the politicians go around and they're politicizing the issue instead of working together in order to bring the children back. The president and other politicians, they're all knocking heads together, you know, trying to outmatch each other in the newspaper, campaigning about the issue. You cannot campaign about the progress of Nigerian children. They're not for campaign. I know if it's the children of the rich people or the politicians who are kidnapped, they could have done everything to bring these children back.
I am here to support the protest concerning the kidnapping of our children. These are people's children, sisters, daughters, friends. Yes. This condition has been going on in Nigeria, and our government had turned a deaf ear to this operation of Boko Haram. It is enough, is enough. There is time now. This is the right time for the government, Nigerian government, to stand and do the right thing. We want the release of these children now and not tomorrow. Today,
Nigeria's consulate is literally around the corner from United Nations headquarters, and many of the passers-by who stopped to observe were UN employees. Yet the kidnapping of the students who attended the all-girls school in Borno State has struck the president's office like no other crisis in recent years. Some political observers say President Jonathan's stature has been weakened by this crisis, and with the World Economic Forum about to kick off in Abuja this week, Jonathan will be closely watched like never before.
We're here today to put pressure on the President of America and the President of Nigeria
One thing remains certain. Unlike other crises to hit Nigeria, with a large contingent of the international press covering this small rally, is that the world is paying attention, watching Nigerian affairs closely this time. The issue of the missing 200-odd students from Borno State is not likely to go away anytime soon. This rally behind me is just the first of many that more than likely will pick up steam in the days and weeks ahead. Eric Williams, Sahara Television, New York.